I'll call this meeting to order and ask for a roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Emerson, absent. Franz,
Here.
Lisk,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Mayor Clark,
Here.
and Chairperson Montague.
Here. Our first item is a continuance request for a sketch plan, Lot 3 PUD Ridgway Land Company subdivision, general commercial. To Build Ridgway LLC is the applicant and the owner is Ridgway Land Company. Do we need any discussion on this, or can I just go move to a motion for,
Let's have TJ give some background as to why they're
an open public comment?
and yeah, there's a hearing too.
Okay, take it away, TJ.
Excellent. Yeah. So just a little bit of background. We did bring this back in June to the Planning Commission, and it was continued at that point. Since then, the applicant and staff have met multiple times, and we're still working through a couple of items, need a little bit more time. And so as requested, staff is amenable to the 1 month continuance. I would also, I guess, just mention that there's some, it sounds like the applicant is in the audience and they may be able to speak to this, but it also sounds like there's some health issues going on with the applicant team, and it might be plausible to extend another month. We haven't gotten into that with the applicant, but that's something that could be discussed as well. So then, as since the public hearing was continued to this evening, Chair, you'll want to open the public hearing, even though there may or may not be anyone there, just for the record, before you continue it, if so desired. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all might have. But yeah, continuance seems to be the motion.
So we're opening it to public comment. Any public comment? Closing public comment. Does the commission have any questions?
And just TJ, for your knowledge, there's no one in the audience. So
Okay.
My only question would be, we probably can't continue it to the September Planning Commission meeting without their approval. So I think we're stuck with August 30th now, right?
I talked with Bo a few days ago and posed that question, and he said that Planning Commission isn't precluded from, continuing an extra amount of time. He felt comfortable with that, but for what it's worth.
I'm hesitant to do that without having the applicant ask for it, is all I'm saying, I guess. I mean, I understand that there are some health issues with some of the team, but unless they're asking to extend for that reason.
Yeah. Another thing to keep in mind is we're at the end of July, close to the end of July. If the applicant doesn't submit anything within the next several days, we're looking at a continuance request regardless, based on review timelines and everything else in the queue, at least at the August meeting, provided that you all were to continue just that 1 month. And so TJ brings up a good point, certainly worth considering, but it's up to you all and how comfortable you all feel.
Well, hearing that, then I'm much more likely to suggest we do it till September. Because I'd be really surprised if they submit anything within the next few days.
You never know,
Right.
of course. But TJ, any thoughts on that?
No, that's a really good point, though, Preston. That yes, it has to do with the timing too. And again, we just haven't. I can't remember when was our last meeting with the applicant. 2 weeks ago, and they're aware of the deadlines and whatnot too. So, yeah, it's coming up quick.
One other question then. If we continue it to the September meeting, does anything preclude them from submitting in the next few days and submitting at the August meeting, or if we continue it till September, it has to be September?
Where's Bo's here to answer that.
Yeah.
Well, if you do continue it to a date certain, because it's a public hearing, it would have to be that date. You couldn't do prior to that. So if the planning commission does continue to September, we could not go to August.
Gotcha. What's everybody else think?
An applicant isn't here to speak to that?
Correct.
Oh, he, not on Zoom, no, sorry.
And they requested August, and then there was some talk about the health issues after that?
No, it wasn't after that. We've been made aware by Mr. Joe Nelson about some members of that team having health issues and how it's affected timeframes and stuff. So we've known. It didn't come subsequent to the request.
This is Jennifer. My perspective is that if they aren't here to represent wanting that extension, it seems like it wouldn't make sense. Because if they're on a timeline to get August completed, we don't know, then it seems like we should honor that and then follow process from there.
That was certainly my first thought.
So be it. Does someone like to make a motion?
So I move to approve continuance until August, planning commission.
I'll second that.
Second.
Was it fast?
Can we get a vote?
Roll call vote. Okay, Commissioner Franz,
Aye.
Lisk,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Mayor Clark,
Aye.
Chairperson Montague.
Aye. Next item, continuance request applicant, application is a final plat, location town of Ridgway, block 20, lots 16 through 18, zone historic residential, applicant Beth Lakin and owner Beth Lakin. I have to disclose a conflict on this one. I don't think I have a conflict on the continuance, but I have become involved in the extension of this sewer project owning a neighboring lot, partial owner of a neighboring lot. So I am involved in this. I don't really see that it's going to affect my opinion greatly, but just for a matter of transparency, I should recuse myself on this item, I believe.
Given the financial interest, I would recommend so.
Okay, there you have it. So, TJ, do you want to talk about this one at all?
Sure. So what we'll do, just kind of some logistics, is that vice chair is, but we'll want to turn the meeting over to that individual. And then chair, I just ask that you step away from the dais for the discussion. I know it's a little too much, but.
Bill, do you want to take it on Zoom or do you want to have John take it?
You know, it'd probably be easier for John. I'm happy to try to do it if you would like, but seems like John, you're better positioned to do it there.
Okay,
We're over here.
I'm happy to. All right, go ahead, TJ, give us the.
All right. Well, this should be a quick one. We reached back out to the applicant, asked about when we would see something, and the applicant, Beth Lakin, requested a continuance just to get additional things finalized. We actually did suggest 2 months, given kind of the timelines that we've been on in this project, and she said that she felt 1 month was adequate. So again, we at least had that conversation with them. We're feeling comfortable, at least at the applicant's request, that 1 month is adequate, and staff is amenable to that. So again, it's just a continuance for a month to the August Planning Commission meeting.
Just for an additional update, an alternative design for the sewer extension was submitted to Joanne, our town engineer, and is the review's nearing completion. There were a couple items on the new design that required some back and forth, but very close to that being finalized. The next step would be for the applicant to nail down a contractor to pull an encroachment permit. And then we would need a pre-construction meeting with town representatives so we can review our standards and regulations with the contractor, make sure they extend that sewer main make sure it conforms to our standards, and then the work can be done. So it sounds like the applicant feels that that can be done within the next, I guess, here in the short term. So that's the update.
Okay, sounds good. I will open up the public comment section for this hearing. Anybody have any comments? Hearing none and the limited attendance we have, I will close public comment section and come back up here for discussion and motion.
I'll do the motion for continuance on the final plat for Beth Lincoln to the August Planning Commission.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Commissioner Friends,
Aye.
Lisk,
Aye.
Nelson, Meyer,
All right.
and Mayor Clark.
Aye. All right, takes care of that item.
Okay, I'm coming back.
Welcome back, Chair.
Next, I need a approval of the meeting minutes for May 31st. Does someone like to make a motion? Can we do both of them together or they need to be done separately?
Let's do them both separately, please.
Motion for the May 31st.
So moved.
Second.
Got your second here, so.
Bill seconded it, so you do both.
Call.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Commissioner Friends,
Aye.
Lisk,
Aye.
Nelson,
Meyer,
Aye.
Mayor Clark,
Aye.
and Chairperson Montague.
Aye. And I move to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of June 28th, 2022.
I'll second that.
Okay, and roll call vote. Commissioner Friends,
Aye.
Lisk,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Mayor Clark.
Aye.
And Chairperson Montague.
Aye. I guess that takes us to the last item on the agenda. Updates from planning commission members. And I have a potential conflict for the next meeting, but I think that I can resolve that and be here. Do we have, does anyone else know that they're not going to be here next month, August 30th?
I'll be here.
I may not be,
Okay.
I won't be here in person. This is Jennifer. But I can probably connect online.
Okay, Bill?
Yep, I'm gonna be here. I am likely to not be here for September's meeting, however. So,
And Russ, you're good?
Yep.
So I will plan to be here. If that is an issue, I will speak with Bill or John to run that meeting.
I believe Thomas said he'll be back for August,
Okay.
if I remember.
And then Preston, did you have an update for us?
Not specifically, I guess. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of things I can talk about if you like.
I think the town council,
Well,
I don't want to say the word.
are you talking about
Yeah,
the
more-
conversation town council had a couple weeks ago?
Yes,
Why don't we look to Mayor Clark or Mayor Pro Tem?
I read it on the front page of the newspaper and was wondering why I hadn't heard it before.
Because it came up right before the meeting. In fact, it was an add to the agenda where staff wanted the council to know that they're feeling spread way too thin. And the timing was such that I had just had a couple kind of sleepless nights worrying and thinking about all the development that's on the table in front of us right now, various phases of process. And Preston and I kind of jointly asked that it be added to the agenda to discuss the potential for, at the very least, an emergency ordinance extending review times for submittals and possibly even a moratorium on development while we revisit some land use code issues. And so we basically directed town attorney and staff to get together and consider options and work up some options for council to consider at our August meeting. I don't know where that's at this point. But,
So the M word has not been enacted, it's just under consideration
being discussed.
It's all
as
very well
a temporary.
Mayor
The
Clark,
N word.
Yes.
questions?
A moratorium, so put a delay on applications until the town is able to catch up.
Yeah,
I just-
sorry. I couldn't hear.
Clarify, isn't that really about planned unit developments, not single family homes, the consideration?
Correct.
Okay.
It would be development proposals, not building permits.
Right, okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Question.
And then I had another question for Preston on that. And my question was, then would the planning commission not be meeting? And he said, well, there's plenty in the pipeline, so we would probably still be meeting. And then my question was things that didn't need similar, like, not that specifically, but subdivision things that didn't take a lot of staff time. Would those continue to move forward? Or are we not going to separate that out? Do you know what I mean? Simple things or is everything coming to a halt?
That's yet to be decided. It's totally up in the air at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot to evaluate. I mean,
Anyways, just to put that out there.
And also, any sort of, temporary moratorium would have to be tied to something, just to be clear. And there was a great conversation at the council level about how to tie it to certain things. There's projects that have fallen by the wayside because there's so many development applications for staff to handle on a weekly basis. And one of the major projects we've intended to get to is a cleanup of chapter 7.4 subdivision regulations. There's some other chapters too, TJ, I think that we'd like to get into and propose modifications to or clean up a little bit. To go back to your question, there's no shortage of development applications that are already in the queue. Also, code changes would be coming to planning commission for input and recommendation prior to going to the town council. So there's going to be plenty.
Makes sense. And I think differentiating between what requires time and can move forward and what can't probably just takes up more time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on what council decides to do specifically in terms of whether we actually do a moratorium or just have an emergency ordinance to review submittal deadlines. But even if we did a moratorium, as Preston said, it would have to be have real clear basis. Some of the other things we discussed, even just on top of the code review and revision that Preston just mentioned, was there's been discussion at council about potentially requiring all new development to be net zero from a greenhouse gas standpoint. Potential of requiring some sort of alternative energy like solar or something on new development. I've even had discussions about what inclusionary zoning is, that the idea that instead of just negotiating with each individual developer about how many deed restriction units they might do on their development, we would institute a actual requirement that could be anywhere from 10 to even 30 or 40% of their units be deed restricted. I believe Aspen's is currently something like 30 or 40%. 10 to 20% is quite common these days, and we've always, I shouldn't say always, but when the topics come up in the past, the discussion has been that in some circles that the thought is that if you don't have an actual required percentage, you're in a better spot to negotiate. I would argue that we haven't done well with that up to this point. So maybe it is time to look at it. So, but to me, just in terms of this whole discussion, what's really ironic about the whole situation is the level of development pressure we're feeling, and including, as I pointed out at the council meeting, I get emails almost weekly from just random people from across the country saying, Mayor Clark, I'd like to meet with you to talk about a development proposal I'd like you to consider. And I'm like, what the heck? I mean, these are things that aren't even on the horizon yet. People are seeing Ridgway's potential to do a development and make some money. And ironically, what we're actually going to be looking at is probably making the process of development more expensive as a disincentive for getting so many proposals thrown at us, which is never what I thought we would be talking about, but it kind of is. So anyway, it's all on the table right now. We could go almost any direction, but at this point, what's been discussed is at the very least staff presenting some proposals to change the review timeline so that staff has more time to review the many projects that are in front of them at a minimum, all the way to some sort of moratorium on the basis of getting our codes updated, tweaking them, and possibly adding some new development requirements in order to deal with the pressures that we're seeing. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did anyone else have any questions?
This is Jennifer, I had a question. So is there any conflict for us to be attending the town council meeting and offering public comment? Is there any conflict in that?
As a active member of the planning commission?
Yeah.
No.
That's our only avenue to have comment on this. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's nothing to do with us.
Yeah, Jennifer, it's your prerogative as a member of the community to comment on those types of items.
Okay, I just wanted to.
I guess the only thing I'd caution you is that hopefully it's obvious, you don't want to be commenting on specific development proposals that are anywhere near the pipeline. If they're not actually on the table yet, you can comment on them. But anything that's even at sketch plan, you don't want to be making comments about those because those are in the process. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
But otherwise, no, I mean, I think one of the things, again, from my experience all these years working with and for the town of Ridgway, is that our planning commission is well respected by the town council. A lot of communities, planning commission will review something and make a suggestion to their town council or their city council, and their council will basically just kind of say, well, we're not interested in that, brush it aside. And that's never been the case here in Ridgway. So I know you feel like maybe council doesn't give planning commission feedback both ways as well as we might. And I think we're working on trying to improve that. But no, we rely on our planning commission quite heavily, and any of this stuff that comes down the line that would be oriented around code amendments, code tweaks, all the way up to, new potential requirements for new development. We would heavily rely on the planning commission to go through the process with staff of drafting those changes. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else?
One other update, not on that topic. Next Wednesday, August 3rd, 6 o'clock, town council will meet in a special council meeting to hold a public hearing and consider approving the preliminary plat PUD application for Yellow Brick Lane. Row Homes LLC's application, 14 units of affordable housing over there. So that public hearing for the preliminary plat is one of two items on the agenda. The second one is the development application for that project as well. So if any of you have an interest in joining, please do.
Tell us the date again,
August 3rd.
August 3rd,
at 5:30,
6 o'clock.
6. Do you want
Trustees, that's a town council.
That's a town council special meeting next Wednesday, 6 o'clock.
And what moved that to a special meeting?
They were hoping to be on the regular July council meeting, but based on reviews, number of variables, we weren't able to accommodate that July meeting. And just based on the commitment to Paul Major and David Bruce that town council and planning commission made many months ago about this project, we're trying to be attentive to meet their very aggressive timeline for infrastructure improvements and then construction. They hope to be setting some of this, the prefab in the fall, closer to winter time. And so we're just doing our best to be attentive and help them get ushered through the process, recognizing that they're not a traditional developer and that our processes and our regs don't really fit what they're really looking to do. And so in the spirit of being a good partner and everything I just said, they requested a special meeting, staff concurred, and the August 3rd date worked for almost all of council, or all of council. Yeah.
I have a question on that application, and if it's not appropriate to bring this up, then just tell me so. But there was talk about them bringing Frederick through from the alley to North Cora. And I know John said it might be possible for the town to help with that since that section wasn't really their responsibility. And I was wondering if anything had happened on that.
Well, hasn't gone to town council yet, but staff certainly heard the recommendation and direction that came from that last meeting with the Tyrant Foundation. And there was a really big desire to bring Frederick all the way through to Cora. And I don't remember like the full process of the conversation, but out of that conversation came how town staff could have, does have the ability to help with certain elements of bringing Frederick through, including getting the culvert in and doing some prep work for that infrastructure work for the street. So we're working on all of that by way of a development agreement, but yeah, nothing's happened yet because it hasn't ventured from planning commission to town council yet.
So would that be something that will be addressed at this upcoming town council meeting, or will that be in the future?
That will be highlighted, discussed at this next council meeting.
Okay. Thanks. Anything else on, any other questions on that?
Well, President,
John?
does that mean that it comes back in August to the planning commission?
No,
No, if the
No.
preliminary plat's approved, that puts it back in their court to proceed on infrastructure installation and everything. And then when they get that done, they go to final plat and that would come to us.
Okay, after the infrastructure.
yep. Thank you.
Michelle reminded me there's an active shooter drill going to be hosted here at Town Hall. I believe it's August 17th. Just want to remind everybody about that.
Well, and the planning commission was invited to that, and the deadline may have passed on the RSVP. I don't think it has. Anyway,
you can always,
if
you can
anyone's
RSVP
interested,
right up to
I read it and it's like, do we really need that? It's like, be the one sitting there with something like that happened going, I really should have gone to that drill.
it's sad.
So anyway,
Yeah, it's sad. It is sad that we're at a point where we have to do stuff like this.
It's education.
The invitation, and if you all can attend, I think we got all yeses from town council. I think we're planning for all the other 5 members of the planning commission or on the town council to attend. We really need a head count for food, but we're just ordering.
Yeah, so I'm just reminding everyone on the planning commission to join us for that if they can.
Yes.
Thanks for that reminder.
Thank
And may
you.
we never need it.
If we do it, hopefully we won't.
And then I had a question. You said that the planning commission or like town council, if I want to go back and see it, it's on YouTube?
Yeah, all these, I can't know my glasses on. You're looking at me or are you talking?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Preston, sorry.
Sorry. So yeah, all the meetings of the town council, every public meeting, town council, planning commission, some other committees are all recorded on Zoom and posted to the town's YouTube channel. I really try to get it posted by the next day. So if you go back to March of 2020, when the pandemic started, that's when we started posting all meeting recordings to the town's YouTube channel. So,
How do I get the link?
I was just gonna look, I think you just search for town of Ridgway.
Oh,
yeah,
Tom.
you just type Town of Ridgway. You can also, if you go to the town council subpage on the website, there's a description about the YouTube channel and how to get it.
Ridgway, Colorado, and you just subscribe.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
That works. And then, do you know anything about the planning conference yet that's coming on for Colorado?
The
in
Colorado
September?
APA chapter. I don't know much about it. TJ, do you happen to have any info about the is it the APA conference?
Colorado. Yeah, I believe it's September. Oh gosh, never mind. It's not that one. Hold on just a second. I have it. It's in Vail. There are special rates for public officials and a public official training course as well as a course. So there you go, September 28th through 30th in Vail. And I think it's open, registration is open now. So you can all go in and register for it.
Well, thank you.
Yep. And our whole team will be there. So,
And what is this?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, TJ.
American Planning Association is the planning profession chapter or organization. And then there's a national element, and then each state, for the most part, has its own chapter. And so it's an annual conference that APA Colorado puts on that provides training for planners and elected officials, planning commissioner training as well. There's a whole tract through that. So it's usually a 2.5 or 3 day session that gets you a lot of exposed to a lot of different planning concepts throughout Colorado in particular. I would also mention that in recent years, they've been a lot better at diversifying the sessions to include what's referred to as a small towns tract, small communities tract, and they're focusing on trying to get input from the West Slope and not just the Denver Front Range. So I think there's some really good stuff that's applicable. And then of course, some of the more broad planning commissioner training. I believe that the schedule is out on the conference website right now. You can go to apacolorado.org and search through there. And the session, I believe that the conference schedule is up, or at least the draft of it. Got my handy dandy assistant over here. Yeah, it's up. And so you can kind of go through, see what's being proposed, what sessions are there. And I'll give a couple. Our team is giving 2 sessions. So we're active participants in that conference as well.
And that is only in person, or is it on Zoom as well?
For the last few years, what they've done is have it in person and then do a virtual component, which usually they'll record similarly to these. They'll record them and then post them afterwards. And it's usually at a reduced cost, right? So like $100 and you get access to all of the YouTube videos or the sessions that were recorded. I actually don't know if they're doing that again this year. That was a COVID thing. They may have stopped it this year. I'm not 100% sure.
Thanks. Anything else? I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Don't need it.
All right.
But thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, and so when
Bill, hope you're feeling okay.
pausing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's coming along. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
See you, TJ. See you, Jennifer.
Bye, thank you.